Hello everyone, my name is Bella and this is episode 1 of me documenting cooking my way through cookbooks as well as just things I make on an everyday basis or on a weekly basis. Yeah, so I'm a student who also happens to have IBS, so a lot of the meals I make, I have to be super conscious of not only them being time consuming, but also whether or not they are gut friendly and will make me happy or unhappy later on in the day. So today we're going to start not with something from a cookbook, but something for me to take that I just kind of come up with on my own. It's a little rendition of a penne alla vodka, but not really alla vodka. You'll see what I mean. It's different, but I happen to like it. Yeah, so not from a cookbook, but just something that I can make. Today's a Sunday, and I want to be able to take it for lunch or have it for dinner tomorrow, and throughout the week. So, let's start. Okay, so I've already got my pasta water boiling with a little bit of sea salt, and then we've got a shallot. I like to use shallots instead of onions, just because I find that they're a little bit less pungent and a little bit less harsh on the stomach. And then we're going in with 1 clove of garlic. Now, I love garlic, and on a normal basis, I used to usually put maybe 3-4 cloves of garlic. I think they really enhance any food's flavor. Unfortunately, this is not the most gut friendly for me, and tends to irritate my stomach a little bit. So I've had to tone it down a little bit. So we're just going in with 1, but it's a fairly sizable one. So that's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop those. And then I'm also gonna go ahead and finely chop some mushrooms. These are cremini. I'm gonna put them in my sauce just to give it a little bit more volume. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to peel these shallots, but I'm actually just gonna give them a quick slice in half before I chop them, and I'm gonna place them in a bowl of cold water. I don't really know what happens to it, but all I know is that once I started doing that, my shallots, onions, anything that I've used have just become way less pungent. But in the meantime, we're gonna chop the garlic as well as the mushrooms. Okay, so I actually, once I opened up my mushroom container, I realized that maybe I had left them in the fridge a little bit longer than I had intended. So they're actually not good at all. Pretty fuzzy, to be honest, which I couldn't see from the outside. But that's fine. So normally I would put mushrooms into my sauce to give it a little bit more volume, but I guess we're just gonna have to roll without it this time, and that's fine. Maybe I'll just pair it with a side instead when I go to eat it. So yeah, so I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and dry off my shallots now and then give those a chop, and then we will start with the sauce. Okay, so now we have the shallots all chopped as well as our garlic in the corner. And so now we're gonna go ahead and pick our pasta. The water's not yet ready, but just so I can have everything ready when it is. Okay, so our choices are either an organic red lentil pasta. I do very much love regular pasta. My mom, though, got me these to try, so I thought I would definitely go ahead and give those a shot this time around. So we either have oh my gosh, I can't speak, organic red lentil pasta. It's like a penne shape, or we have this gnocchi, I think it's gnocchetti shaped pasta. It's multicolored, and I think it's beetroot, spinach, and corn, which actually sounds really good. Trying to think which one I think I think I'm gonna try this one, and then I'm gonna leave the red lentil pasta for maybe a more seasoned dish, I think. One with a little bit more of a enhanced spice profile, I think. This one, it's a very muted, just a simple sauce, which I think the gnocchetti would do very well with. So, but I am excited to try this one next time. So we're gonna go ahead and put this one back. Okay, so for the sauce, normally I do a base with tomato paste, deglaze with a little bit of wine, and stuff like that. I actually don't have tomato paste today, so we're gonna use just a regular sauce base. So I do have half a jar of the Rao's marinara sauce, so we're gonna use this. I am gonna add a little bit of wine to deglaze anyways when I have the shallots and the garlic in, just to enhance that flavor a little bit. And then afterwards, to make my sauce a little bit heavier, a little bit more creamy, I don't use cream or anything like that, because I find that it makes my stomach a little bit upset. So what I actually do is sometimes I'll either put in some blended cottage cheese, also enhances the protein in it. But I also love adding, either depending on how big my the portion I'm making is, I'll either do half or whole one of these little yogurt cups, I guess. It's the Oikos Grecos plain Greek yogurt. It does give the sauce a little bit like a tangy taste, but that means you just have to add a little bit extra seasoning to kind of make that go away. I love it. It definitely enhances the sauce, makes it a lot creamier, but without the added sort of fat component that like a heavy whipping cream or like a half and half would add to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the olive oil, and then we can add in our shallots into the pan. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a nice big swig, I guess, of the olive oil to the pan, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add the shallots. I am working with one hand today, so I'll have to put that down. Okay, here we are now on the stove top. I'm gonna go ahead and turn up the burner. Check on my pasta water. Almost perfectly boiling. Okay. Now, so while we wait for this to heat up so I can put the shallots in, I want to talk about the seasonings I'm going to use. So obviously we're going to do salt. This is the Kirkland pink sea salt. I love this one because it is a little bit less pungent. I do love more like muted flavors. I love to taste like the natural flavorings that the foods themselves or the ingredients bring to the dish. So I don't love using like too many seasonings. However, that is dependent on the dish itself. Later on in the week, I'm thinking of making tacos, specifically either shrimp or like mahi taco. That one I do love piling on the seasoning, especially with the shrimp. So this is dependent case by case. I'm also gonna go ahead with some garlic powder, just because I am only using one clove, and I do love the garlic taste, so I'm gonna add a little bit more of this. And then I'm also gonna hit it with some black pepper. Then we're gonna do a little bit of Italian seasoning, a little bit of crushed red pepper, and then I'm thinking also, what else do we have here? I love a little bit of smokiness in my dishes, so we're also gonna hit it with the paprika as well. I don't do too much of it because this isn't really a paprika centered dish, but I think this is definitely one that I'll use. Okay, so my pan is now pretty heated. It could use a little bit more. I have it on medium heat right now, but we're gonna go ahead and add in the shallots. Yeah, it could be a little bit hotter, but that's fine. I'll just let it cook here for a little bit. So that's going to simmer, or not simmer, saute for a little bit. I'm gonna go grab a spoon. Give it a nice little stir. And I'm just gonna let that sizzle for just a little bit. I think my water might also be done, so I'm also gonna add in my pasta now. Yes, my water is nicely boiled. So we're gonna go ahead and add my gnocchetti. It's not even opened, okay. There we go. There isn't too much, but that's okay because I like my dishes a little bit saucier. I like more of a sauce to pasta ratio, so I think that'll be fine. And I'm assuming it's also gonna grow a little bit as well, or expand, whatever it does. Okay, so my shallots are now browning just a little bit. I'm sweating them. I think I'm gonna go ahead and add my garlic now, because I don't want anything to be too, I want it to be just like nice and slightly toasted, not really burnt or anything. So I'm just gonna let that simmer for just a bit. And now normally this would be the part where I would go ahead and add my tomato paste, but since obviously we're not doing that today, I forgot we didn't have tomato paste. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and add just a little splash of white wine. Now, no one come for me, this is the wrong wine. Usually I do like a Pinot Grigio. This is all I have today. It is a Riesling. Not my finest hour for using a wine in cooking, but at the end of the day, it definitely does its job. It gives it a little bit of a different flavor, I find, but at the end of the day, I love it just the same. So I just added a little splash. Yeah, that's cooking down a little bit. I can smell a little bit of the garlic, which smells very, very nice, very fragrant. Okay, trying not to burn this. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in my sauce. I'm just going to clean out the jar with just a tad bit of water. You don't want anything to really go to waste here. Okay, perfect. And then I'm actually just going to turn down the heat a little bit now to like a medium-low kind of. I'm just gonna let that simmer for a bit. It's actually looking very nice. I love the addition of wine to basically any meal. I'm not like a huge drinker, but if I do drink, it's usually wine. But I love the addition that it has to any sort of cooking. It just really enhances any flavor profile. Okay. So I'm gonna let this simmer for a bit. I'm gonna check on the pasta and then I'll come back and do some seasonings. Okay, so my sauce has now simmered now for a little bit. I think we're ready to go ahead and add the yogurt to it. I don't want the bottom of it to burn, so I am constantly stirring it because even though I have it on low, it's still bubbling quite a bit. Okay. So I'm gonna start with about a half of the container of the yogurt. So one thing to note about when you're making these sauces with yogurt instead of or like cottage cheese even instead of cream, is that you'll often find that it has sort of like a grainy look to it. I find that that's the case normally when I've put the sauce on too high of heat and it's actually started separating. So that's why I do this part when the sauce, sorry, is on its low simmer, so then it doesn't really break up that that yogurt too much. Okay, so now you can kind of tell a little bit the sauce has kind of had like a little bit of more of an orangey sort of color to it. I think I'm actually going to add just a little bit more yogurt. Okay, perfect. So now I have about a third of the container left. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add all the spices that I mentioned before. Again, this is to taste, so I often do taste it midway through, just because sometimes depending on how much yogurt you use, like I mentioned, it does have a little bit of a tangy taste, so you're going to want to cover that. So however much you want to add, just taste as you go. Okay, so I've added all my spices. The pasta was also done boiling, so I went ahead and added a little bit of the starchy pasta water to my sauce, and then I went ahead and added the pasta itself. So now I'm just kind of giving it a good stir, letting it simmer a little bit. It actually smells so good. It's making me really hungry. And it honestly, it looks amazing. I'm so happy I chose this pasta for it, but I am, again, still really excited to try the other one. I love trying like new and like interesting looking pastas, because I feel like the same old spaghetti, penne and whatnot, like they're great, don't get me wrong, but there's so much more that there is to offer with other types of pastas and other types of ingredients to make pastas. But yeah, anyway, so this looks really great. It's gonna simmer for a couple more minutes just to thicken it up a little bit and really get all those flavors mixing in together, and then we're gonna plate it. So okay, so I went ahead and put it into a little bowl, hit it with a little bit of shaved Parmesan on top. Honestly, I'm so excited to eat it, and yeah, thanks for joining me, guys.